ready for another lesson?
All right.
Welcome back, everyone, to Back Row Banter. This is week 24. As you can see, we got everyone here on the gang. Joining me tonight, Adam Schwartz. How have you been, sir?
Not week 24, episode 24.
What is going on, man?
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. How you been, Ty? You chilling over there too, right?
I'm always chilling.
I knew it. And Blake, you running us out tonight, right? You're over there chilling as well.
Of course.
It's great to hear. Great to hear. Good. Joining us tonight, no one, but we're gonna be talking about some stuff. We're gonna be doing some trailer talk, a couple 1, 2, 3, and then we got some news. R.I.P. Sean
How
Connery.
many? How many?
Couple 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
That's how many times I've watched the trailer.
I see.
Then we're gonna be chatting, just back row chatting about Borat, as Adam would say, subsequent movie film. How'd I do? How's that?
Yeah, I'm
I like
impressed, man. You want to take over? Keep going, man. Oh, he got shy.
That's
He left.
exactly why he can't take over, because
That's exactly why.
Craig and Chirac.
He's unreliable.
That's the problem.
Unreliable.
That's the problem.
Yeah. You want to keep going? You want me to take over here, man?
No, please get over. I just thought.
All right, that was good, dude. That was good.
That was
What's up,
nerve-wracking
everybody?
a little bit. It was weird.
Was that Was that like improv or?
Yeah, that was. I wouldn't write that down. No, that was.
Okay.
That was off the.
I don't know
that
if that was
was-
planned or if that was off the cuff. Okay.
Premeditated. He planned
Fantastic.
There's a
Great.
whiteboard
Well-
behind my computer with just that written word for word, even the pauses.
Well, I wasn't saying that. I'm just saying, did you plan the whole? Did you have
Nah,
the
man,
idea?
I wouldn't do
going
that
in?
to you.
Okay.
No. Something like
Okay.
that needs to be in the moment. It needs to be. It
Of
needs to be
course.
organic.
Gotta be
Of
organic.
course.
Yep.
Of course.
Gotta
It's
be
got to be
organic.
organic. It's got to be organic. Well, this organic podcast right here is Back Row Banter, everybody. I am your host, Adam Schwartz. That was Nathaniel Gingrich. How you
Hello.
doing, Nathaniel?
Man, I'm chilling.
You apparently. Oh, you know what? Is this the
Apparently,
8% beer?
Nathaniel's,
Is this the 8% beer you cracked
Nathaniel's
before the
feeling like
podcast?
Katie's
Is
cheerleading.
that what's going on?
Listen, for the listeners who don't know, I've completed a year of sobriety, and now we're celebrating that we don't have to do that anymore. So that was
Okay.
there was an Alaska Husky IPA that was consumed earlier, and that is a 7% beer, which is delicious, by the way. Very, very interested in Alaska Brewing Company. So shout out to them. But yeah, it's good to be back, folks.
It's very good to be back.
Congrats, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
man, that's a good thing.
That's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
not
man.
that I know a lot about drinking, but yeah.
Yeah, of course. No, it was a good time. It was a good time off. It was revelatory in some ways, I would say. But we're happy to be back.
Cool, man. That's good. That's good. And also joining us today, it's popcorn time, man. I was gonna try to think of something for Thanksgiving to change his name to
Signify we're in November.
I love.
pumpkin pie tie.
Ooh, I love pie.
Pumpkin pie tie.
So
Yeah.
I actually do pie instead of cake for my birthdays.
100%. 100%. It's been that
Thank
way
you.
since
Really?
the day that I can remember.
That's why we're best friends. That's why we live together, folks.
I've never heard of anybody say that before. Or
Pie
do
is-
that.
Man,
Pie is overly superior.
birthday cake is so overrated, man. Like, especially if you get it, like when it done well, it's excellent. But
I was
like,
gonna say,
if it's
don't get me
done
wrong. I'm a
poorly,
big fan of cake. I love cake, but
just pie and ice cream makes more sense too.
it's just it's more savory instead of sweet, and it feels better. You get flaky crusts in there. There's different textures. You can do so many more things with pie than you can do with cake.
Plus, I would even argue it keeps better.
100%.
Like, cause like half
I
the time
probably
too,
agree with you on that.
you got like 400 sheets of like cake left,
Yeah.
and you're just like waiting there and you're just eating it all week, and they got those giant frosted roses on there, and it's 6 inches of just pure sugar.
Yeah.
Like, pie, you can just reheat it. You throw a little dollop of whipped cream
You
on
can
there
eat
if
it
you want
cold
to.
or
Ooh, a
hot.
dollop. Ooh, a dollop.
A dollop, bro.
Nathaniel.
Hey, they don't give those English degrees out for free.
Oh, I'm sure they
Gotta
don't.
earn that one.
Yeah, big pie guy is over here.
Yeah, I
100%.
love me some pumpkin pie. I could probably, with some determination and an appetite, finish an entire pumpkin pie on my own.
What's your favorite kind of pie?
It's a huge call, but I'm
Pumpkin
down.
pie. Oh yeah,
Pumpkin pie is your favorite?
Pumpkin.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Nathaniel?
bro, I love a good key lime.
Key lime. Yeah,
Mm,
I can get behind that.
that's
I
not
can get behind
bad.
that.
A
Blake,
key
you got a
lime,
favorite pie?
or just like, oh,
Um,
hold on, I do gotta say though, like,
Mhm.
a prime apple pie.
Ooh.
Like, I'm talking
Yeah,
like a
you
Granny
lost
Smith
me on
apple
that.
pie.
It's got to be
Yeah.
the most majestic apple pie on the face of the planet for me to consider that my favorite.
Man,
Just because it's
just
so
like-
overdone.
That's true. That's true. I can agree with that.
You know what? I'll
I
make
can
you an
agree with
apple
that.
pie soon. I make a mean apple pie.
That's what you
Ooh.
keep telling me.
Can
but
we have a little back row banter? Back. Oh, jeez, man.
a pie off? Back
Jeez.
row banter pie off?
No, I was gonna say a back row banter reunion pie when I come home. from school.
Oh, yeah, we
we'll
can
have
do that.
All right,
All
cool.
right.
We'll check it out.
All right, we'll have pie pod, and we'll eat a pie and have pod.
Blake, favorite pie?
That's tough. I mean, take it for a grain of salt. I'm an incredibly picky eater.
True. This is true.
I
Has been
do-
established.
Yeah, I do like key lime pie though. I will eat that. Pumpkin pie is okay. I also don't really care for apple pie. I'd probably have to go key lime pie to be honest with you, or pumpkin pie.
For
Hmm.
sure. For
Short
sure.
answer.
You know what I
But
respect
outside
though
of
is that
don't really venture out much.
none of us has gone for like a dessert pie. No one's gone for like a chocolate or a French silk or something like that.
Oh,
I like
yeah, I
that we're
can't
all
do that,
keeping it
dude.
real.
Yeah, no, you gotta
My,
have. To me,
yeah.
pies have like a fruitier flavor or some kind of taste to them. That chocolate stuff, that's more of like a sweet. That's more
mean-
I don't know. I mean, the pies are sweet, yes, but that's more of like a candy or like
mean,
a cake or a fudge. But
But
I don't
we
know.
can't we can't forget like a chicken pot pie too, or like a steak and kidney pie.
Are we? If we're counting chicken pot pies,
No. I'm talking about strictly dessert because we're trying to
Okay.
compare it with cake. You
Yeah, I
can't.
didn't
Like,
think we were
there's
going
no, there's
chicken
no
pot
like,
pie.
there's no like fucking like dinner cake,
Hey,
right?
there's still
yeah,
pies.
I wasn't.
That's
yeah,
a
I wasn't on
lasagna.
board
That's
for
what a
that.
lasagna is, Tyler. It's dinner cake.
I'd have to go with cherry.
Cherry.
Ooh.
Yeah, bro. Cherry's just like my all-time favorite kind of pie.
I don't mind a
Similar.
cherry, but I would not say it's even close to my favorite.
Or like a mixed
Well, I
berry.
would,
Maybe
it's.
like
I would say
blackberry.
it's not close to my favorite.
Yeah.
Mixed
Or
berry,
I've had
blueberry can get by.
I've had a good like couple like clutch ass rhueberry barb.
Oh,
Mm.
see, the first rhueberry or rhubarb, I should say, pie I ever had was a cherry rhubarb.
Yeah.
Ah.
Bro, it tasted like tomato ketchup. Like it was the worst pie I've
Oh,
ever
that's
had.
terrible.
It scarred me for life. I can't go back, I don't think.
I apologize. I'll have my
Sorry.
grandma make one. She'll kill it.
Ooh, that's not a bad
Yeah.
bad idea actually though.
Yeah,
And also joining us tonight,
yeah.
it's Big Cat Silverback Gorilla Great Blake.
What's going on, bro?
How you doing, man?
Good. We actually so for the listeners, today was my first day back, or excuse me, this past week was my first week back at the store at Best Buy. That's where we all kind of met. And nonetheless, Adam, the other Adam, who actually helps out Nathaniel with his other podcast that you guys should be listening to, he ended up bringing up the gorilla versus bear situation again. So we kind of went into details on that. And I might be swayed to the bear side.
Okay,
Oh,
tell me what's.
obviously bear.
I might
It's
be.
Tell
so
me,
bad.
tell me what has
Okay.
swayed you. Tell me
Here
what
we
has
go. I
swayed
mean,
you.
it was.
They're 7 feet tall.
Yeah, I mean, they're way bigger.
Okay,
and
there's that. There's
I was
that.
putting a lot of stake in a gorilla being able to use weapons, as in like how we see King Kong, where we know gorillas have just opposable thumbs, right, where they can grab things. But I don't necessarily know if they actually have the wherewithal to actually pick something up and use it as a weapon, right? I know they can do that, but I don't necessarily know if they process that the thought provokingness. You know what I mean? the rationale to be able to like, hey, I can pick up a wrench,
I
or I can pick up a
I
wrench or a rock.
think you're underestimating him, man.
I
Well,
could
like,
be, but he kind of talked me out of that, and I was like, you might have a point.
I think you're underestimating him, man.
I'm talking like American football field. They both just appear. They perceive the other one as a threat, and they go into attack mode.
Oh, I mean,
It's
in that
grizzly
situation,
all day long.
yeah, in that situation, a bear, 100%. If there's
Well,
no
yeah,
trees to be
if there's no
climbed, if there's
trees,
no,
well, then if that's the
Yeah.
situation you're talking about, that's a little different. I was
Yeah.
saying
Still climb
I was
trees.
saying more of like a
Very
Hunger
fair.
Games style arena where you can control the environment, all right, and you're putting trees there and stuff for them to interact with. Maybe a club there in the cornucopia for the gorilla.
I think that's way too big of a
Okay,
barrier.
I mean, even with that, though, I
Still
mean,
grizzly.
do
Still
you
grizzly
actually think
all
a gorilla
day
can
long.
use that weapon? I mean, can anyone
No.
talk to me on that? I know they
No.
can, like I said, but I don't even know if they have the knowledge
Dude,
to do something.
I think they do. You guys are underestimating these
Yeah,
monkeys.
but like we're talking about
It's a
it
single-
being for like a tool, not a weapon. He's not gonna like carve a spear and start throwing shit at him. Like
no, I'm not saying he can make weapon if he had one available to him.
I'm telling you, it's a single shot from the grizzly. Like with just a good old, just like a bear club on the back of his
Yeah.
head, and that man's going
Yeah.
down, and then the bear's grabbing a hold of his face and crushing him. Like,
R.P. Harambe.
yeah, man.
R.I.P. Harambe. Quote of the episode.
I like that that's become one of our like most contentious segments. Is the
Yeah,
just
the bear gorilla.
bear versus gorilla talk. That's gonna be our new podcast, Gorilla
Yeah.
v Bear.
Gorilla v Bear. We'll take callers and experts. Well, this will be an ongoing discussion, but eventually it would have to end, right?
Oh boy.
There's only so much debate. There's only so much debate until we get crazy enough to fundraise actually, I don't think that could ever go down. And I was going to suggest that we fundraise an actual fight between a bear and gorilla, but I don't think that's feasible.
by today's standards, we'd get canceled by PETA.
Facts. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get in the episode here. We're already running into it. That was a long intro. But anyway, into the news. Sean Connery, the first and ultimate James Bond, has died at age 90.
Rest in peace.
Rest in
R.I.P.
peace,
man. Yeah, he's one of the greats.
Yeah.
That's a big name.
Oh, for sure.
I think my most like fond memory of like Sean Connery is I don't know if you guys have ever seen Dragonheart, but like I'm obviously a big fantasy guy and I grew up on stuff like Dragonheart, and he was the
Rico.
voice of the dragon in Dragonheart, and so yeah, man, I think that's pretty cool. You know, like I think he's up there with all the dragon gods that are up there, and you know he's in the stars now, bro.
Yeah,
So,
man.
He's dope, bro.
Nathaniel,
Yeah.
how you feeling on this one, man?
I'm of mixed minds, we'll say. He's definitely, the ultimate, like you said, ultimate James Bond. He's the guy. Going back to the day, that's what it is. I also, like Tyler said, have very fond memories of Sean Connery, both in Dragonheart and in probably one of the worst movies of all time, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, dude, so good.
Which I unconceivably loved, and from like age 8 until 25 when I figured out it's actually a bad movie. But
You still love it.
accomplished a lot, was definitely of his time. Not possibly the nicest person in the world, especially to women, but that's again what happens.
Different time.
Different time.
Not always excusable,
definitely.
but different time.
Different time. Yeah, 90 years ago was a lot different than
90, bro.
Yeah, man.
So
I feel like he looked the same the whole way through.
yeah, just an icon for 100% will always be remembered. Is going to go down in history as one of the great characters of our generation, and as the undisputed example of that, I think, in some ways. So
Yeah.
And
Rest in
90,
peace, man.
90 good innings, that's a long time.
I feel like he's like one of those guys like Samuel Jackson, who like looks younger now than when I saw him in Jurassic Park in like
Mm.
1989.
Talking about
Mhm.
Samuel Jackson there.
Yeah.
In
What did I
Jurassic
say?
Park. Sean Connery, not in Jurassic Park. I'm just clearing that
Oh, yeah. I thought that was pretty obvious. Hold on to your butch.
But actually, that'd be pretty cool.
All
Sean
right.
Connery, the hacker,
Well, then you gotta put like Samuel L. Jackson in like Dragonheart.
or like The Rock.
All the stars shining tonight. Then get the fuck out.
Winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
All right. Back on track.
All right. Well, let's move on here. We got some trailer talk this week, people. Very fitting for
Yeah.
our latest episode. Go check out our Halloween special because our trailer talk this week is Halloween Kills.
Interesting, right?
Mm.
We've seen more. I was like, I almost don't want to watch this trailer. I don't want to know anymore. But then you see Michael Myers and you see that knife, and you're just like, well, I'm back on board. Let's go again.
I am back on board, man. I'm so excited. This looks really good, especially after rewatching those.
For sure.
I'm
Yeah.
excited.
I think the 2018 version is just such a pleasant example of how to do this correctly, which we've talked about obviously a lot. So I'm very
Mhm.
interested to see where they go with this, because this will be their first kind of true expansion into the genre, or into the canon in some ways, you know,
Mhm.
because the 2018 version is such kind of just like a catch up. It's kind of like a, well, what are they up to now in a lot of ways. This will be their kind of first, real big steps back into the
Right.
canon. So
Right. We're
very
gonna have to
interesting
throw a
to
little
see.
more original ideas in
Yeah,
there.
and I mean, like, Michael was severely injured in a lot of that bit. So I mean, spoiler alert for a 2-year-old movie, and one we've talked about on the podcast before. But he took some serious licks. So
Mhm.
it's talking about that and how that's established in the canon, how because he's always been kind of this unstoppable force, but we actually see him like losing fingers in the last one. So you almost can't say that that's going to be a problem for him, but it's also not like he can regrow fingers. That kind of like breaks the mythos and stuff too. So it'll be really interesting to see how they handle a lot of those issues and a lot of the kind of problems moving forward. But very exciting for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I like it. I mentioned last time I like the first teaser they kind of released, which was maybe 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah, we talked
Um,
about it on pod.
yeah. So I mean, I like this one. I'm sold, man. I actually went to a buddy's house of mine on Halloween, obviously COVID friendly, of course. It's kind of a few small friends just kind of get together, talk. And nonetheless, I put this on in the background. I put Halloween
really?
2018 on in the background. Yeah, I was like, I can't be here on Halloween and not have this thing playing.
Fair
So,
enough.
That's true.
yeah, I'm sold, man. I'll be there. Halloween 2021, I'll be there.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I love the burned mask and the burned kind of theme they're going for here.
Yeah, that'll be
Looks
interesting.
really, really cool.
It'll be interesting, and it again, it appears to be the same night, almost like a continuous thing.
Yep.
So, but you also
Yep.
wonder, are they gonna tie it
For
in
sure.
back into Halloween? So is he gonna like take a year off and then he comes back again?
Right.
It'll be interesting to see.
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see
I'm
where that
curious to
goes.
see. I'm sorry, Adam. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. No, that's all I was really gonna say.
Yeah. Real brief. I mean, it's trailer talk, not to go super in depth.
Oh yeah.
I'm
No.
curious to see how the hell he gets out the house and kills all the firefighters. Like that's what I want to see. I'm sure.
You
Yeah,
think
I'm
he
sure.
kills the firefighters? I mean, he's showed restraint before. It's not like he kills everybody.
Yeah,
insane.
but I mean, the classic move is that he kills one of the firefighters and then dresses up in their
Right, to get
Hannibal
out and
Lecter,
something like
Hannibal
that.
Lecter or
Yeah.
something.
That's what I
yeah,
was thinking because
or
he
like
picks up his mask in the teaser.
right, or
Mm.
like he dies and he's one of the firefighters that gets loaded up to an ambulance or something like that, or some other thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
that is a great point actually, Blake. It'll be interesting to see
Yeah.
what they do with that as well.
Indeed.
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
What else we got on there for trailer talk. TT.
That's the only
it?
trailer talk we got here. But Blake, get excited, man.
We got a big
It's
It's
old
the first week of the month, man. It's the first week of the month. That means the
Oh,
news
okay, yeah.
streaming.
is
That means we got some new
big
stuff.
packed. It's packed. Not packed, but it's got some good ones in there. I would say this is one of the better new to streaming lists we've ever had.
Yeah, this is a heater.
Ooh.
This is
Okay.
this has got some good ones, man.
Yeah,
All right.
I just pulled it up.
New to Netflix, we got A Clockwork Orange, and we got Forged in Fire season 6, a Back Row Banter approved show.
Personal favorite.
Personal favorite of, I would say, at least 3 of us. I don't know if we sold Blake yet.
I don't think so, fellas.
It's
Okay,
another one of
that's
those-
fine.
It's one of those perfect background shows, though.
Yeah, it's a great
Yeah.
background show. All right, Ocean's 11, Snowden, and Yes Man. Those are all going to be coming to Netflix.
Yeah.
Amazon Prime. 28 days later,
Hey.
as Blake
Support that.
recently watched. Dead Poet Society and a Dave Schwartz, Papa Schwartz favorite, Romancing the Stone.
That's Michael Douglas, yeah.
Mhm.
And what's her name? Catherine something? Let's see.
It's
Elizabeth.
hold on, I'm trying to find the IMDb. There we go. Michael Douglas, Kathleen Turner.
Kathleen Turner, right?
Yeah.
that's one of the ones that was kind of like a spin-off of Indiana Jones almost.
It was a bit of a spin-off. It's a little bit more campy, I would say.
Yeah.
It's got a but it's fun. That's one of course Papa Schwartz has maybe watched. I watched it a few times as a kid, but I've watched it somewhat recently. with him.
Excellent choice, Papa Schwartz.
Of course, he's got great taste. Hulu. We got the Blair Witch Project.
Original, yeah, OG.
Yeah, 09. The Bourne
09.
trilogy. Was it
the original
09?
one, I think it's 99.
Oh,
99.
99. Wait.
Yeah.
I must have
That's when that guy was
misread
born.
that.
So, I mean,
That's
a-
my bad. That's my bad. I must have misread that. Anyway. The Bourne trilogy. We got Identity, Supremacy, and Ultimatum. All 3
Those would be
coming
kind of
to
interesting to go through
Hulu.
again.
Yeah, I love those. I think those are some of the best action movies ever.
I never really got
Yeah.
into these.
Really?
Neither have I. So
Yeah.
I probably should try to sit down
These
and
are
see
like-
those.
Yeah, I'll be very interested to see how they are in a rewatch.
I don't know. I feel
Do
like
you guys
this
like
is
those over the Mission Impossibles? I'm sorry, Tyler. didn't mean to
No,
cut you off.
I see. That's where I was gonna kind of.
I like him over the Mission Impossibles.
I just think that like I grew up on more of like the Mission Impossibles
Yeah,
versus
same
like
here.
the Bournes, and so like by the time Bourne kind of came around, I was just kind of like, it was kind of like Halo and Call of Duty. I'm like really
Right.
comfortable with Halo because I grew up on Halo, and then
Mhm.
Justice started playing Call of Duty, and I'm like, this sucks. This is stupid. Stop playing this game.
Mhm.
And then I kind of picked up on Call of Duty, so I guess I'd be interested to go back and kind of watch these and see if like I've kind of grown on them because of
For
I
sure.
just kind of lost what I had for like the Mission Impossible or like even kind of like the Matrix.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was kind of the last big action advancement before
Yeah.
the Bourne trilogy, because the Bourne trilogy is famous in the film world, I guess, if you want to call it that. That sounds pretentious, but whatever. For
Yeah.
kind of being this introduction to the quick cut style of action. So
Gotcha.
traditionally, your action fight scenes are between 2 characters, and you connect those together with these kind of long takes of the action, and you follow it as you go. Whereas Bourne really introduced to the mainstream this faster editing style, so that the punches feel more immediate. There's these quick cuts of shots between, like, it'll be a hand, a fist, and then
It's
Mhm.
more immersive.
and then there'll be a spin, and it's all in close and everything like that. And
100%.
it can be very well done and very immersive, as Tyler said. But then, like, and exactly like Tyler said, almost every movie takes from the movie that comes before it. So this spawned just countless imitators in a similar way to the Matrix. a few years before that spawned countless bullet time and imitators and that kind of thing as well.
Right, because then you get into like the Jack Reachers and shit like that.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
and
But
so
I also I have respect for this because I don't think you get movies like John Wick as well as they
You
are
don't.
without
don't.
something
No,
like
no.
this.
Not a
You know what I mean?
chance. Not a chance.
for sure, there's the Bourne trilogy is definitely has its place and is as kind of like if we were going on my traditional like kind of measure, is it something new or is it a great example of the genre? So the Identity obviously is very new, I feel, and then Supremacy and Ultimatum kind of expand that genre as it goes. But I'd be really interested to see this again now. In particular, just I remember it being a very global film. So he's kind of in and out of different countries a lot and that kind of thing.
He is, yeah.
And but also it's very talky. And that was one thing I remember as a kid watching it and just being like, wait, what government is that? And like it was very it didn't it trusted its audience in that way. It explained the story and just kind of didn't harp on it too much. So I'd be interested to see it going back again too. Um as opposed to like those, your Commandos or your Steven Seagals or anything like that, which was just all action and muscles. This was very much
Yeah.
a more kind of thinking
Steven
man's
Seagal. That's a name I
thriller.
haven't heard in a while, man.
There's still a lot of Steven Seagal fans out there, man. They're big,
Fucking
they're big
Van
time.
Damme.
Yeah, exactly.
John Claude Van Damme.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. You're taking me super back.
Dude,
Adam,
this
do you know how any of those?
sidekick-
Do you know any of those people? Are those names ringing a bell?
I've heard those names before.
Yeah. He probably didn't see any of
Haven't,
those
but
movies.
I don't know if I could like recognize them.
Yeah. I don't even
Dude,
know if I can name a Steven Seagal movie or a John Claude Van Damme movie off the top of my head. I would have to see one,
Van Damme was in one of the Expendables. He was like the villain.
Oh, his big one's Bloodsport, isn't it? That's kind
Yeah,
of his thing.
that is a
And
big
then
one.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
Seagal's Under Siege and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Fun fact: John Claude Van Damme was actually going to be the guy in the suit for the Predator, but the first suit that they made for the monster was just filmable. It was ridiculous because they didn't have like a creature studio do it. So then
Mhm.
they had Stan Winston, who had done obviously like Jurassic Park, very famous in the makeup and effects industry, come back and retool the suit, and he was like, for what you want to do, it needs to look like this. And that's how you got the kind of iconic Predator look. So,
Nice.
little fun fact. Sorry, let's keep it going here, boys. We got a lot more
Yeah,
to talk about.
I was about to say we gotta wrap this little convo up. The Prestige is coming to Hulu as well. Slumdog Millionaire and Rick and Morty, the complete 4th season.
That'll be
Are
something
you
to
guys into
watch.
Rick and Morty?
Yeah,
That's not bad.
Ty, do you watch Rick and Morty?
I did Rick and Morty with Rob, my old roommate. What's up, Rob? And we thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I do too.
So yeah, I definitely think it's kind of one of those like newer day Family Guy kind of deals. There's like stupid comedy, but like Rick and Morty are such unique characters, and it's a really well done show. And the fact that like nobody's ever kind of done that universe yet in an animated series.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think it did a lot of things for kind of that genre. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
it's one of those ones that's famous more for how terrible its fans are than for how great the content is too, which is a shame because it is actually very smart, well thought out series. But
Yeah, it's there are some smart there is some smart comedy there for sure.
onwards and upwards. What else we got on here, bro?
HBO Max, we got Too Fast, Too Furious,
Let's
and
go.
the original
movie.
The Fast and the Furious.
Let's go.
Classic.
This one here is for Blake. We got Battleship.
Okay, yeah, that's
With
the one we talked
Rihanna.
about the other day.
That's the one that we
That's
talked
the
about.
Rihanna one, right?
Hilarious.
Yeah. And we also got Billy Madison, The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight's on HBO Max right now, people.
That
I
thing
can
is
go turn it
streaming
on.
somewhere all the time, dude. Or if not, it's on TV all the time. It's
Yeah,
just like a
I know.
super-
Or
But
everyone.
I
movie.
get excited. I get
For sure,
excited.
for
I
sure.
need to get the 4K version of that.
Bought it last year. It's a great investment.
Yeah, I will be making that investment soon, of course. We also have
I
Friday
also
the
have it in
13th.
Hulu as well.
Oh,
Interesting.
interesting. Friday the 13th, Hacksaw Ridge, Happy Gilmore, The Hobbit trilogy,
You're
Ocean's 11, Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, Terminator Salvation. We Bought a Zoo. I cried during that movie. That movie's really sad. And The Dead Don't Die.
I will be fascinated. I would like a written examination of We Bought a Zoo. We're gonna be as a precursor to your film minor. I want to learn more where your head's at now. So I'd like a critical analysis of We Bought a Zoo by next week.
I also have a cry story, but we can save that for later.
Okay, save that for some filler. I'm sure Nathaniel will leave the call at some point again.
That's actually not a bad call.
All right.
I'll pull up our 5-star reviews right now just so I don't forget. So I don't have to fill
Great. And to Disney Plus, we have Mandalorian Chapter 10 is coming. So
So they kept going, huh? They didn't.
yeah, they kept going. So you guys haven't
What
seen it
you
yet.
guys, yeah,
Well, I guess we
looking
could
forward to
just
it.
transition right into what we're watching. Unless you guys, is there anything on the new streaming you guys want to talk about?
Fair.
Not really.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, is anybody looking forward to anything on there? Or
Dude, there's a
I mean,
lot of
I
movies.
think
There's a
a
lot
lot
of
of
movies
stuff,
that
yeah.
I really want to check out. A Clockwork Orange.
Mm.
What I just saw it on HBO Max. I forgot.
Fast
Dude.
and Furious? Too fast.
Hacksaw Ridge. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
I've
Gotcha.
seen
Yeah.
Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah.
That's Andrew Garfield, right?
It
Mhm.
is. It's Mel Gibson.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
And
yeah.
isn't Vince Vaughn in that
Real quick
movie?
then, fellas.
Vince Vaughn is in that movie.
I believe he is, yeah. Which one is, I always get all the Oceans movies mixed up. Which one is 11?
first
What's
Isn't
the
that the
heist
most
in that
famous one?
Yeah, that's the casino heist, the very first one.
The Bellagio.
one? Okay.
I haven't seen any of them.
Gotcha. Oh, really?
Really.
That's something we might have to dig into, Adam.
All right.
Yeah, man.
We'll
those
look
are,
into that.
those are some,
Hey, Rihanna's actually in one of those as
Is
well.
she really?
It's just another
in
Rihanna
Ocean's 8,
segue. She's
which
in Ocean's 8.
I-
Life's a
all
simulation.
women.
It's a simulation, man. It's a simulation.
I'm telling you,
All right. Yeah, what we're watching though. Why don't you guys Mandalorian? Let's just start off here, people. Back Row Banter listeners. I'm sorry to disappoint. We cannot talk about Mandalorian this week. As the three people who said we were all gonna watch it, none of us have watched it all the way through. I've watched about 27 minutes total. Actually, no, that's generous. I think it was like 20 minutes total.
I just wanted to go on record
Yes.
that Nathaniel and I were both very busy this weekend, but
Me
I'm
too.
not going to use that
Me
as an
too.
excuse. I'm actually going to just run Nathaniel over with the metaphorical bus here.
Oh.
And I offered to watch Mandalorian or play Call of Duty yesterday when we had like a free hour, and he wanted to play Call of Duty. So I opted out to play Call of Duty when we could have watched this. So if anybody's going to get mad, be mad at Nathaniel.
I was just busy this weekend. You don't have to be mad at Nathaniel on my behalf. But if you'd like to be, that's okay.
yeah. I'm just waiting for you guys.
Nathaniel
to watch this so you guys
Nathaniel
can
has
come
stepped
with
away.
that,
Nathaniel has stepped away from his computer and microphone. We should probably give context.
Yeah.
So he
I was
can't.
gonna say,
He's not
I
here to
actually
defend
didn't even
himself.
notice that until just now when I looked up.
Yeah, he's not here to defend himself. That's kind of why I added
I
on
hope he
there.
still heard everything though.
I don't think he did, man. He's got headphones. Oh, here
No,
he comes.
he doesn't have his headphones. Oh yeah, that's right. Never
I'm
mind.
actually
Well, no, but
waiting
he
on
can
you
hear
guys to
my.
watch that so we can get to when Nathaniel said that there's gonna be like that sidebar. The segment's like, hey, I'm gonna have to guess what was even in the Mandalorian, or is it completely BS? I'm actually curious. I want you guys to start it just so I can start to kind of figure out what's going on and what's BS and what's not.
Nathaniel could
Right.
still probably hear my voice, so reaction.
I couldn't actually. So
Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
No, you're
My
okay.
bad, guys.
I was blaming the fact that we did not watch The Mandalorian on you.
Oh yeah, it's 100% my fault.
Yeah, because I said we have like a full blown free hour here, and you decided we should play Call of Duty instead, which I was still down for, but I
It's
gave
true.
you the choice.
But you know, The Mandalorian is one of those shows that I want to be in the right headspace for. And I think I may actually need a refresher on the last episode prior to going into it again. Can you
Well, maybe
confirm,
you should
Adam?
watch
What do
that
you think?
tonight.
Can I confirm that you should get a refresher on the
Yeah.
last episode? I remember the last episode just fine personally, and
I've
they
probably
do give a
watched
they do give a recap. They do give a recap.
Okay, see if I have the recap, then I might be fine. But it just
Okay.
wasn't the right move yesterday. You know,
That's fine.
the energy was so weird yesterday that we watched Pirates of the Caribbean, which is top 5 for me probably, in terms of just like most watch movies and just ones that
Mhm.
I will always watch. And we got like an hour and a half into it, and Tyler and I both looked at each other and we're just like, this isn't the right vibe right now. You know,
Yeah.
this isn't the move. So
Well, no, I was actually thoroughly enjoying it, but you were falling asleep. Leo was kind of falling asleep. So then I was like, we're just gonna go to bed.
So the way I remember it is that we looked at each other and we just said it wasn't the right move.
No, you were very tired, which is,
True. I was
reasonable.
traveling.
Traveling.
Yes.
And Leah and I have been moving all week, and this was kind of like her little lazy time, and the three of us are kind of getting acclimated to hanging out, and
Mhm.
so
So yeah,
she was
that's
very
what-
tired. So yeah, I was like, we just need to go to bed.
that's what we've been watching. We watched a third of or 2/3 of the Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black
2/3.
Pearl.
I actually totally forgot about that. I mean, I got a couple things that we were watching.
Yeah, we'll save that one for another time because that's going to be one that I'm sure
Yeah.
we'll talk about on pod or something like
Sure.
that.
100%.
Well-
Well, anyways, we started Blood of Zeus,
Oh, that's right. That has been fun.
which I thought you forgot about.
I did forget about.
Congratulations. It's a new anime on Netflix. It's definitely kind of got like a different style than kind of like your typical anime. But it's not. It's good. It's not like that Dragon's Dogma one that I watched. And then so yeah, that's been really fun. How many episodes did we get through?
2, I think.
Okay. So yeah, I think that's been really fun. Leah and I finished Schitt's Creek
Yeah,
finally.
you said you guys have been watching that for a while.
Yep. So we finished that. That was great. I'm in love with that show. Everything about it's great. Leah and I picked up on The Boys again. Still not in season 2. I want her to get through season 1.
Oh,
So that's been
fascinating.
really fun to see her reaction
Yeah.
kind of throughout all that. And then we watched Coco.
Great film. Incredible film.
Yeah, big fan.
I have not seen it.
Pixar
You
don't miss, bro.
should do yourself a favor.
Is that on Disney Plus?
It is.
Correct.
right. Noted. I'll keep it in the. I'll keep. I'll add it to the watch list.
You should.
I am.
You
Doing it right
should.
now. I'm on Letterboxd already.
I think you should do it right.
You know what? I think I'll do it later now, just because you said that.
I think you should do it later.
Is that for you? It for you, Ty?
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
nip this in the bud right now.
What about you, guy?
Me? Well, I was out of town this weekend, gang. So
Where are
I
you
was-
now?
I was visiting my
You're down there in
best
Texas.
friend
That
in
didn't stop you.
Texas. That's true. It did not stop us. So we watched many movies. I was visiting Nick and Danielle. Hi, folks. Go onto their store. They just launched a new T-shirt brand, Honky Tonky. It's very fun.
Cool.
Some awesome shirts over
Shout
there.
out the
But
local T-shirt brand.
that's right. Small business.
Are they trying to do some Back Row Banter merch?
I mean, we could talk about it. We'll talk about it off pod though.
All right, man. I'm
So
intrigued.
their request was they've been listening to the podcast, and their request was that we watch all horror movies
you.
while we were there this weekend.
Ooh.
So I was like, absolutely lock
interested.
me in. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
So we started off Silence of the Lambs.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
classic, obviously.
So now in the past month and a half, 3 of us have watched it. Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's see, what else did we do? The next day we did so I've been seeing this commercial for this movie on Hulu called Hunt for the Skinwalker, I
Hmm.
think. Now, Skinwalkers is another story that I'll tell a different time, but are very personal to me and my family. So I was intrigued by what this was, but it was just this really weird, um, like really bad documentary. Yeah, Hunt for the Skinwalkers from 2019. It's on Hulu. It's about these guys that like have this ranch where they think a bunch of weird activity has happened. It doesn't seem like that to me, but whatever. It was okay for like a daytime movie in which you were just chilling and like had on the background. Um, but not a recommend from me on that one. What else did we watch? So that night we watched the Poughkeepsie tapes,
Oh,
which was a big recommend from me. Um, almost regretting it in a little bit now because my friend had a really hard time with the movie, and that he was like, the people that think of this should um are just incredibly screwed up and that kind of thing. I think it was a little bit too real for him in some ways, but yeah. And then we watched 30 Days a Night, also
Ooh,
good
you,
classic
you just
choice.
you're just like, you know,
he's
going
on
to
a roll
all
right
of,
now.
Well,
yeah, yeah.
we
Blake,
hit we hit a
killing over
ton
there,
of
man.
them. Yeah,
Checking
man,
all the boxes.
we hit a
But
ton
yeah,
of them.
checking all the boxes. There you go.
Then after that was Halloween. So Halloween we watched a 2018 movie called Ghost Stories, which is available on Hulu, I want to say. It's from Britain. It's a UK film. It's starring the biggest star in it's Martin Freeman, as most people know from as Bilbo from The Hobbit in that series. But basically it's three different stories, and the kind of anthology setup is that there's a guy who busts like supernatural and psychics. Like he's like a James Randi, almost a guy that goes out there to watch magicians and tell them how it's done or anything like that. So he meets his idol, and the idol says, here's three ghost stories I was never able to explain, go investigate them. And so you go with these three different characters and meet and learn the three different stories and everything. So
Hmm.
really well done, I would say, overall. Kind of a nice tone that wasn't super dark or super it's like I would describe it as a similar tone to Trick or Treat in some ways, like a little bit kind of fun, a little gotcha, a
that.
little bit, a little kind of craziness there too. And then we rounded off the night watching The Lighthouse. So it was
Ooh.
like we said, it was a gamut, a wild time. But yeah, that was that. And then obviously watched the film for the pod this week last night with Ty. But other than that, that's it for me.
Yeah, that's not a bad list there. Was that any were any of those their first viewing?
Most of it was their most first viewings. Yeah, they
Okay.
kind of gave me a blanket permission to be like, hey, pick us horror movies to watch, and I was like, all right, well, we're gonna take some travels then.
Yeah. I'm curious to know, what did they think of 30 Days of Night? I've got to ask.
It was one of those things where it was kind of the end of the night, and so I don't
Hmm.
think they enjoyed it as much as they would have had we started earlier. And also, Poughkeepsie tapes just leaves a weird vibe in your mouth
Ruins
Yeah.
them.
too. Yeah, so that was one I think didn't quite hit home as much as it could have with them.
Mm,
But I think they appreciated a lot of what they did. They just didn't find it too scary. But
gotcha.
again, coming after Poughkeepsie tapes, I think that's
Right. That's just a
understandable in
completely
some
different
ways.
type of horror in
Right,
there.
just
Yeah.
totally different tone. Which maybe we'll talk about some on our review coming up soon.
Yeah.
Sips tea.
Blake, what you been into, man?
Not much, man. I actually had a pretty slow week in terms of movie watching.
Yeah.
This past one, whereas opposed to last week, I kind of got a lot of stuff done. The big one here, so I guess I got to go on record and say I did lie last podcast saying that was the final week of Halloween. That'd be the last horror movie I watched. Obviously Halloween went up to the Saturday, so I did watch another
Ooh.
horror movie. I believe on Wednesday. I believe I watched it, and I actually rewatched a Netflix original, and I watched The Ritual. again for the first time
Bro, I
since
saw
since
that
that
the
came
other
out.
day, and I thought about it again, and I was like, "That's a pretty decent movie,
It's
right?"
not bad.
Right?
It's not
Yeah.
bad. Yeah, yeah. So that's the only thing I got to. That, like I said, that's a Netflix original from 2018. First time I saw it since 2018, ironically. And the director on that is David Bruckner. And I think he's actually done something with the VHS. We've kind of been on record talking about VHS
Oh,
before.
has he?
Yep.
Interesting.
Not necessarily sure which short story was his. But yeah, it's good. I mean, I think it's about as good as you can get for a Netflix original just for a horror movie. Quick premise on that. It's a story of five gentlemen who are friends. One of them has an unfortunate death. And then the story kind of takes place as the four going on this journey to pretty much spread the ashes, right, of their friend who kind of passed. That was one of his requests. And they end up getting into some weird shit while trying to spread this
Sweden,
guy's ashes.
right?
Yep, and it
Sweden,
is.
Switzerland. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Really interesting
between
movie.
yeah,
Fantastic design elements in that movie, and you'll know what I mean if you've seen it.
oh
But
yeah, yeah. The
there's some
payoff on seeing the
really
monster in that one is cool.
yeah, some
for sure.
really interesting choices. A great example of the four friends get lost in the woods, kind of subgenre of films.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, and yeah, you're right because yeah, you've seen that movie 10 times if you've seen horror
Right.
movies, but just the way they've done it, it actually works out pretty well. But yeah, that's a Sweden area they're in. So between that and Midsummer, you got some
Yeah, you could have
interesting thing on the Swedes.
a northwestern European
Yeah.
triumvirate there. You could do a double feature at least.
But yeah, so that was really it on my end. Just wanted to knock one more horror movie out real brief.
Sure.
What did you get into? I know obviously you got some things for that class. Did you have to watch anything for that, or you just all casual?
Unfortunately, today, we're watching not a movie. It's gonna be something else. So nothing for that class, unfortunately.
Bummer.
Hopefully we'll be back at it next week. But I did get into I only really watched two things. I only wrote down two things when I was thinking about what I watched this week. But I'm really one of them's a show. I'll just say it. One of them's it's The Queen's Gambit. It's a
is that good?
Netflix. It's good so far. I've only watched episode 1, and I watched a little bit of episode 2. I'm gonna try to keep watching it tonight, hopefully. But it's actually really good.
I really
Episode 1
like
is interesting.
the actress in that. She's quite good. She's in The Witch.
Yeah. That's exactly where I knew her from. I knew I'd seen her before in something. But yeah, now that you say that, I see. Yeah. She's great. The weird thing they do though is they have her at one point. This is a minor spoiler, I guess, but the story starts out as when she's a kid. And then so they have this child actress until she's 13 or 14. And then they switch to that actress and she tries to play it like she's 14.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's bad. It's bad. But the nice thing is it looks like the show is gonna skip through her teenage years more quickly.
Yeah, because I think she's
from what I saw of episode 2 at least.
I think she's like in between you and Blake, so she's definitely older than 13.
I could probably find out, but yeah, there's no chance she's 13. Yeah, she does not.
Oh yeah, I can't even think of her name either. But yeah, she's
Anya
probably
Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, I would bet she's probably 22, 23 years old.
Yeah. I'm trying to find her age out right.
Isn't that weird when like
she's 96.
Oh yeah, so she's probably 24.
Sorry, she's not 96 years old. She was born in
90. I figured that. So yeah, she's probably 24, 25.
She looks great for 96.
Yeah,
she looks fantastic.
Incredible for 96.
Yeah.
But that's
he's what, 24?
Yeah.
Something like that.
I had a point earlier.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. She's kind of become like the horror darling, though. She was in The Witch. She was in Split. She was in Glass. Like, She's done a lot of that
Yeah.
that stuff.
She's in another film too. I can't think of it off the top of my head. It's a
Good thing I
really
have her IMDb up right now.
New Mutants. She's in New Mutants.
she is in that, and it's like a really shitty take on Splice. Almost, I can't think of what it's called.
Oh really?
What's it called?
Is it
It came out a few years back, maybe 2015, 2016.
Oh, that far back.
Yo, Splice is a wild movie too.
There's all right. So in 2014, it's Vampire Academy, Endeavor, The Witch, Viking Quest, Atlantic, Morgan, Barry.
Yes,
Yeah, Morgan-
That's
Morgan's
what
the
that's
one.
exactly what it is. Yep,
Okay, Morgan.
that movie blows.
Oh yeah, I remember this. I remember this.
Just kind of came to my memory.
That's kind of a weird subgenre, though, isn't it? Just like weird Eastern European woman who just kicks ass. Like there's like
Yeah, right.
like Hannah, and then it's always one word titles. It's like Hannah, Morgan, Lucy. Like all of those are just all the same, and they're always directed by Louis Leterrier.
Yeah, so she's she's a good actress though. I mean, especially for her age, she's one of the more prevalent.
She is. And she's been in pretty good in this so far.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen much of her because she switches towards the end of episode 1, so it's not a long time that I've seen her on screen already. But I'm interested to see where this goes. I wish we'd probably talk about what it is if you don't know. It's about her, Anya Taylor. Anya Taylor-Joy. She plays a like chess prodigy basically. So she's, I'll give you some minor spoilers, but this is all revealed in the first episode. But she's like orphaned at a young age. Sent to a girl's home and then discovers her love for chess is essentially how it starts. But not only her love of chess, but her innate skill at it to the point where she is well above everybody she's playing against. And but it's really good. And it's funny because I had just gotten my chessboard out to play with some buddies like 3 days before I started watching that. So it's been hitting the spot and we've been playing chess in the house. It's been a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing I watched is It Chapter 1. Which came to HBO Max. I think there was an error here last week. I think I looked back. The sheet that I get the new to streaming said It Chapter 2, but I think they just put it on. I think that was supposed to be It Chapter 1 because It Chapter 1 has not been on there recently, and then it showed up the other night. So, but yeah, I watched that. It was my second time watching it, but I remember
you said you wanted to rewatch that on a quality television set, right?
Yeah, the first time I watched that was one of the worst TV sets I've ever watched anything on. It was so
It
bad.
happens.
And I'm so glad I got to rewatch it properly.
What's your biggest scare in that movie? Because mine's always the theater where it comes out of the screen.
Yeah,
dude, that was really creepy.
Yeah, what do you think, Adam? Because I actually got some 2 cents to throw in on this one, actually.
Man, I would say the basement with Georgie.
Ooh, that's a good one too. Yeah,
that one's really
Is that the one when that's the You'll Flow Too?
Yeah,
yeah. And then Pennywise comes out of the lifts his head out of the water.
Then chases him.
And then chases him really weird.
I mean, all his chase scenes in that, it's all they all look like that. It's like the quick edited. Yeah, I'm like, why does it look like that?
Blame the Bourne Identity. This is its fault. We can trace it back here.
To Nathaniel's question, I mean, my best scares. So I watched this movie on Friday as well.
Oh, really?
And I hate myself for not mentioning it yet because it just completely slipped my mind until Adam said it. So that's actually what I watched on Friday. But yeah, my best scare on this one, I mean, it's got to be. I already forgot the kid's name. But it's when they first go to his house, and they end up getting separated. And the one kid who breaks his arm, I can't think of what his name is, and he's kind of stuck down there. Eddie, yes. And then Pennywise finally comes out the fridge, and then he's like, "All right, time to float." And then he starts like walking to him, and then you realize he's gonna eat him.
You get the great like unwinding.
Yeah.
Pennywise
like, okay, he's so crumpled in there, and then he starts walking towards him. And then he realizes everyone else has figured out that if they're not scared, they can get out the house, right? Like it doesn't manipulate them. And then, because I forgot what kid says it as well.
It's the main kid.
Yeah, it's Finn. Finn is the one who ends up saying it's okay.
Finn Wolfhard.
Yeah.
Well, he's not the main one. It's a different kid.
Yeah, but I think he's with the other gentleman, right? I can't even.
He is.
Bill Denbrough is his name.
Yeah. But yeah, that's when he was like, well, wait a minute. It's like it's just
none of this is
not
real. Yeah,
Yeah. And then he comes down and he tries to like confront Pennywise, like, this isn't
See,
real. And he's
I
like, well,
always
what do you mean it's not real? It was real enough for Georgie. And I was
right.
like, okay, this is definitely real.
I always hated that because in the book in the movie it's like you have to not be scared of it and then you can hurt it. But in the book it's you have to understand that it's real and that it poses an actual danger to you and then not be scared of it too. Like it's
Okay.
kind of an
Right.
extra step that you have to get to and
Right.
that like in that's what prevents most of the townsfolk from not getting to it and that kind of thing. Um but yeah, I like those movies a lot actually, the new It films. They're fun times.
Yeah. Yeah. I like him, man. Like I said, and I hate for not bringing that up, but yeah, that's cool. I rewatched that on Friday for the first time in a while. And it was dope. But go ahead, Adam. Not to steal your
Yeah, no, it's
shine,
just a
my
really good
brother.
movie. I kind of want to check out the chapter 2 now. That I've had a refresher on chapter 1. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it so many times before. I don't want to keep talking about it, but really solid for sure.
We're an hour in. We got to talk
Yeah.
about a movie now.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was thinking as well. All right, well, let's move on here to our review segment. Nathaniel Gingrich,
That's me.
Spooky Rev himself. Will you give our new listeners here a rundown of our review segments here on Back Row Banter?
I think I will. I think I will do that for
Oh,
the
okay.
listeners.
Cool.
So if you are just joining us for the first time, first of all, welcome. It's nice to have you here. How we do our main reviews here on Back Row Banter is we give an introduction to the film. This is generally taken from the IMDb page. We give you kind of the actors, what year it came out, who the director was, any interesting and fun information. And then we give you the non-spoiler plot summary. This is also taken from the IMDb page. Those are notoriously quite short. If there's anything interesting or of needed to be filled in, we'll do that at that point. But the big point of this is no spoiler section. So going on from that, we'll give kind of our first reactions and we'll break it down. If we would recommend the film, either a yes or a no, has to be a binary choice. From then on, it will be completely spoilers. So we will spoil the rest of it if it's anything that needs to be spoiled or anything crazy that happens. Excuse me. So then I'll be free to talk about it, give our kind of our deeper thoughts on the movie, whether, more ideas of what it ties into, all that good stuff. And then at the end of it, we will welcome back anyone who didn't want to listen to that part of it. Maybe they haven't seen it yet or anything like that. And we'll see where this guy ranks on our entropy list, and then we'll head on out of here.
You love to see
Fair
it,
enough.
Nathaniel. Thank you very much.
Not a problem, sir.
All right, well, why don't you give us here our little IMDb summary?
Yes, so this is a brand new film, kind of an oddity on the podcast, but
Yeah, that's
doing
20.
COVID. But it is official title is Borat Subsequent Moviefilm. Though it does go through several different titles during the film.
There is the original title. Do we want to read that?
Yeah, I'll read it out here. So it's got
Sure.
under the IMDb page, the original title is listed as Borat Subsequent Moviefilm Delivery of Prodigious Bribe to American Regime for Make Benefit Once Glorious Nation of Kazakhstan. So if you're familiar with Borat, you kind of know what's on the agenda. But here's the IMDb summary, which is on here. It says, oh, my computer just clicked on a picture or the trailer. There we go.
It's a follow-up film to the 2006 comedy centering the real-life adventure of a fictional Kazakhstan television journalist named Borat.
There you go. With the assist from Popcorn Tyler. So
Hey, it's pumpkin pie tie, man.
oh, sorry, pumpkin pie tie. Yes, that's 100% correct.
Which just makes me feel way more cuter.
It is true. It is a cuter version of the name, isn't it? It's
100%.
like Popcorn Tyler to Pumpkin Pie Tyler is very similar
Pumpkin
to
pie tie.
torture porn enthusiast.
Oh yeah, right.
Big Cat.
We guys talk about bad nicknames, right? It's like I came from the gates of hell with that one.
Watched a lot of torture porn in that hell, man.
You know what? Though, low key, the other day I was thinking about it, and I was like,
What's up?
man, we could go a little torture porn here too. Like, it's a
Oh, with
viable
your friend?
genre.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
it's a viable genre.
yeah, like
No,
torture
it's
porn
disqualifying it.
gets a bad rap, but there was a lot to be said with that kind of
Of
that
course,
genre as
of
well.
course.
One day we're gonna review Saw, and I still think Saw is an excellent film.
Again, I've seen bits and pieces, but I've never.
I'd support
Well,
you
anyways,
going over the original, but yeah,
let's talk about this film
Of
instead.
course,
So
let's yeah.
this is directed by Jason Woliner. I don't really know him from much. From what it looks like, he's very involved with like The Lonely Island, as well as Nathan for You, which is another kind of
That makes a lot of sense if he's done it for you.
yeah. Nathan for You is definitely a spin or not a spinoff, but like a Borat broke a lot of the ground for Nathan for You and shows of that like.
Mhm.
But yeah, and then the screenplay's got multitude of writers on it. Not even gonna go into it, but the main character, the main cast, Sacha Baron Cohen, for Borat. Obviously, most folks know who he is. And then Maria Bakalova, she plays his daughter Tutar, who is definitely the other main character of this film.
Mhm.
But yeah. So that's kind of it for the background ideas or anything like that. And
Which, really quick, this leads to Blake's theory of life being a simulation. She
Alright.
was playing a 15-year-old in this, and she was born in 1996.
Yes. So she's definitely
Wow.
It's a
Yeah.
simulation, man.
Dude, I was like, yeah, we were literally just talking about that exact thing.
Come on.
Let's talk
At
about
least
the
be
fact
subtle about it.
on my laptop I just saw someone walk behind me and I had to remind myself that there's a third person in the apartment now and no, it's a ghost.
Borat scaring the hell out of you over there.
Oh.
We'll never escape horror month. We're in too deep. Everything we watch from now on just becomes a horror movie when we watch it.
Here you go.
I don't want to watch Elf if that's the case.
But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the brief, right, IMDb summary on this one. I mean, I guess we can go around and do your did you like, did you not like, recommend. What do you guys?
Did you like? Did you not like?
Yeah.
Sounds like a Borat saying in some ways.
I said he's got me talking like him. Yeah, but what would you guys do, man? Did you guys like it? Not recommend? We'll start with Adam.
Oh, I wasn't sure if you guys wanted me to go first, but I like this a lot. I liked this a lot. Had fun with it. Had a lot of good laughs. Had a lot of good jaw-dropping moments.
Bro.
That I was watching with a group of people. Well, mainly one other person. My buddy Will was with me, and we both just kept looking at each other like, "There's no way this is happening," right? Like, there's some very like jaw-dropping moments. But on top of that, I think this is a very smart comedy. And I will get to that a little bit more and explain a little bit more of that in the full review section. But it's a very silly movie on its surface, but when you look into it and see what it's trying to say, I think it's a pretty smart movie when you think about it. As far as the comedy goes, it's a pretty smart movie.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree with that.
Yeah.
What do you? So you like it? So I'm assuming you'd recommend it then?
I would recommend. Yeah, especially. I mean, it's more Borat. That's misguiding. It's not more Borat in the sense that it's like the first one. It's very different than the first one, but it's more of the Borat character. So if you like Borat, it is more of that character that I think you'll like it.
Gotcha.
All right, Nathaniel.
What about yeah, I was gonna say Nathaniel, Ty.
I'm fascinated by this film in some ways. I cannot believe we have a second Borat film. Like it is
Yeah, let alone in 2020.
right. Like
Of all years,
Yeah.
but it somehow makes so much sense.
It does, doesn't it? It like hurts.
Yeah,
It
like-
hurts, but it makes sense.
Yeah, man, it's wild. It's wild that this is out there, that this exists, that this is what it is. You know, and I will definitely talk about this later, but like, what are you gonna do? It's a Borat film. Like this in my mind occupies the same space as South Park. Like
Okay.
Yeah, I
like
can see that.
it pulls no punches. It punches hard
Mhm.
for some folks, and it like, but it is that thing where it's difficult to put a critical lens on it because it is so self-aware. But I'll attempt to do so in a little bit in some ways. But would I recommend this film? Yes. But I'm very aware that a lot of people are not going to like this.
Oh yeah, right.
And I have other reasons for recommending this film besides just political ones, but this is going to be a minefield, so I'm
Mhm.
excited to get into it. It'll be
I am too.
fascinating.
I am
Okay,
too.
gotcha. What about you,
Blake-
Ty?
Oh, we will go to Ty. Yeah, sure.
I think I'm a little on the other side on this one. I think
Okay.
it was funny, but I think it's only funny because of how cringy it is.
Mm-hmm.
Cringy. Like you didn't like it cringy, like you thought it was awkward cringy, or cringy like the
he
because they
means
go
like-
for
Cringy
cringe
and
back.
cringy in the
They
fact
go
that
for the
like what they
cringe.
were doing.
Like, oh my god, this is happening.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
this is really heavy. And like, don't get me wrong, I laughed. There were some really funny
For
moments
sure.
in this. The hard part for me is if you've seen Borat 1, you've seen this. And yeah, I think that it's still smart and it still does a lot of good things, but I think it's just Borat being Borat in 2020 versus in 2006.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I mean,
Are you all
Yeah.
right, Ty? Are you a recommend or a not recommend then?
If you like the first one, sure. If you didn't even see the first one, I can't say that I would say go watch this.
right.
Yeah, I
Okay.
see where you're coming from there.
Okay, Blake.
Yeah, I like it. You know, I mean, I know what I signed up for, right? Like, kind of clicking this, to be honest.
That's the thing, though. It's a Borat film. Like,
Right. So it's like I
you
almost can't
just
even be like,
know, what it's gonna
surprised or
be.
you know. I like it though. There are certainly some good laughs in here, especially for like this type of comedy. I usually don't find this type of comedy that funny to me. Like, for example, like An American Pickle.
Yeah.
Obviously completely different movies, but I think more of it is just more to like a cultural thing, right? Where I just don't necessarily find these type of films that funny to me. But obviously they do got some super funny jokes in here from political references, but the first one is very much the same way. But
Mm.
yeah, I like it for what it is. I'd watch it. I think I'm kind of with Nathaniel on this. Probably isn't a film that you can really recommend to everybody. Like they kind of already have that darker sense of humor and like
I mean,
self-awareness of
let's be
stuff.
honest.
You know what I mean?
This film is left leaning.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Like, make no mistake, there's been a lot of controversy about this, or there's been a lot of talk about this for anyways, but this film has something to say, and that is definitely left leaning.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's still a film and it's still worthy of criticism, so
Mhm.
It's still, I think, even though it's left leaning, doesn't mean that it invalidates the points that it brings up. I think there are some good points that it does bring up.
No, yeah, and I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit more.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way in some ways.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts on that. So I mean, I would
Yeah.
say I like it. Recommend. You got to know the crowd to recommend to. That would probably
Sure.
be my answer.
Right, it's binary, man. Yes or no.
Yeah. Oh man, I guess I forgot. There's no nuance on the internet.
No nuance
Um,
on the internet. Yes or
according to
no.
On the
Nathaniel, so yeah.
internet.
Wow. If I had to stand on something, I would probably say no. I would not recommend it
Oh,
because I know this is
okay.
gonna. Yeah, it's not gonna sit right with everybody. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's like, I would have to say no. I don't recommend it. I do like it though.
Mm.
You got to be. You already have to have that Borat knowledge from the first one to go into this with even like some sort of lens to view it in.
Sure.
Otherwise, you're going to be like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I get you.
All right, so that's a recommend for me. Nathaniel said yes, right?
Yes, I'm on the recommended.
And it sounds like Tyler and Blake are no. I think that's the. I think I don't. Have we ever gone 2 and 2 before?
I think so.
Maybe on the entropy list. Maybe not necessarily on.
We've gone,
recommends.
yeah, but I'm just saying recommends. I think it's usually been 3 and 1 if there's ever a not recommend, because we've
Right.
been watching some movies that are pretty good, but like so we don't not recommend often, and I think when it happens, it's usually 3 to 1. So this is going to be an interesting one. I'm excited. Knowing this, I'm excited for the entropy list segment.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to see actually.
But speaking of segments, let's head on into the spoiler segment of the review section. So if you do not want
Spoiler.
the Borat subsequent movie film, for whatever reason, if you don't want that spoiled, go ahead and give it a watch. It's on Amazon Prime right now, and then come back, maybe give it the review section a listen. If you want to skip to the end of the episode when we're not reviewing and talking about spoilers, you'll be taken to our entry list. So go ahead and check the description for that little timestamp there, and we'll see you later.
So
All right.
tell me, how old were you when the first movie came out, and what age did you actually see the first film?
When did the first one come out? 07, 06?
06, 07.
Yeah.
2006.
You-
So I was 6
you
when it
would've
came
been-
out. I remember my brother loved this movie and would constantly reference it, and well, both of them really. They were because I have 2 brothers that are 6 and 4 years older than me.
So
So
they're 12 and 10.
and so they watched the first movie, or watched it maybe not necessarily
Like,
in
at a
2006,
fast-
but when it was still relevant,
Right.
and when it was newer. So I got all these references, but never knew the context until I saw it. I think the first time I saw it was when I was like 13, 12 or 13.
Okay.
And then I watched it again, probably when I was like 16, 17. Yeah, when I was 17. And then this is probably, I rewatched it, the original Borat, a third or fourth time, before I watched the sequel here.
Yeah, because I think I've seen this film twice, both when I was like 16, 17 age. So I don't have that actual great memory of the first film.
Mhm.
But I definitely remember it being way less one side or the other than this one is.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I
there-
think that's natural
there-
because the first one was not nearly as political as this one is.
yeah,
This
there's-
one, the sequel it has a political commentary that it's trying to make.
Right.
That's why, and then so that's naturally going to divide people.
which is fascinating as a choice, as an artistic choice, which is cool
is.
because this is where we're at in cinema nowadays, in that there are these independent voices such as Sacha Baron Cohen are given such a platform by a studio like Amazon and given such free reign that they are essentially allowed to make a film like this. Now, I think, had Jeff Bezos and Donald Trump not been at each other's throats a couple times during the year, maybe that this film wouldn't have been made in the way that it is. But it's still, as a time capsule, is a fascinating object in 2020, which will be interesting in the history of film moving forward, which has for so long been so American based. How these next few years are going to play out as the art form for a whole. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think just the reach of politics has expanded since 2016 with Donald Trump in office. I mean, that's just not deniable. I think more people are paying attention now than were during the Obama presidency. And I think as that's happened, and Hollywood's become more and more upset with it, because Hollywood's undeniably towards the left. And so as more people have been wanting to speak out and use their platform, you've seen more content like this, and you've seen more people becoming outspoken.
Yeah, I think it's hard to cast like a critical lens on comedy and it's also incredibly hard to cast a critical lens on something like Borat. But if you were going to, you would kind of have to draw comparisons to how in the original it's this study in Americans reacting to other cultures, and how and the kind of the joke is American um assumption that we are the leader and everyone knows who we are and reacts how we do, and then the Borat character comes over and just takes those weird Americanisms and it's just bits of Americana, and then forces them to their limit. And so that's where the comedy comes from, is these weird, uniquely American bits. And Borat 2 takes those and spins them on their head a bit, in that now America, as he kind of, I think he says at some point, but like America has become dangerous to the other side of the world, whereas Borat 1 is so kind of focused and linear on other people's dangers to America. This is in some ways the flip side of that. I'm fascinated personally by the choice to grow Borat as a character, where you can definitely tell some of this film is scripted. Where the first film is almost a series of unscripted moments, a kind of like almost,
Right. Yeah. I agree
Yes.
on that.
almost like a candid camera or something like that scene where Borat is then
Well,
brought.
I think a reason for that might be is if you're, because this is, like I said, this is definitely made with a message it wants to tell, and you can't tell a message with unscripted events. Yeah.
For sure, but I find that a fascinating choice as a
Oh,
filmmaker.
yeah. Yes, for sure.
And I think it shows growth on Sacha Baron Cohen's side, and in general, that like we're going to now take the Borat character past the duologies phase, and give him pathos, give him empathy, give him this kind of three-dimensionality that we're always talking about. I find that a fascinating choice as a filmmaker, and as a something that is in the canon now, of Borat. So that I find it really interesting. And then also what else was I going to say? I had another point on this as well. Someone else give opinions, and
Sure.
I'll back up
Well,
again.
do you, you know what? Do you want to, before we get into this, cover a little bit of the spoiler plot summary?
The rest of the story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, we kind of just.
It's okay. It's okay.
But yeah, so Borat has a daughter. The main kind of plot point changes from Borat trying to. So Borat has basically embarrassed himself based off of the 2006 film,
Correct.
which I find fascinating that they've kept that in canon. And then, but also like the world knows that Kazakhstan kind of hated Borat's depiction in the 2006 film, so it's this weird kind of thing where you're playing to history but also influencing it as well, and kind of joining it. But Borat, having embarrassed Kazakhstan, needs to then be sent back to America to make Kazakhstan great in an attempt to win over Donald Trump to Kazakhstan's side. And the way he goes about doing this is originally bringing a monkey to Michael Pence, but then it becomes Borat's daughter, and along the way they form more of a relationship. She becomes a feminist. He starts to kind of recognize her as a human being, and then they move back to Kazakhstan, where Borat is revealed to have been the host of the coronavirus of COVID-19. And they're pretty much just kind of allowed to live their life, but instead all of the horrific Jew stereotypes from the first film have been turned into now American stereotypes in the second film. But yeah, sorry, I just kind of went directly into critical analysis there.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
there's your subsequent movie film direction. His daughter's incredible. I
Yeah,
think
she was great.
she's
Yeah, she did do good.
absolutely insane. The fact that she can carry whole scenes
The fact that
without
she can keep up with Sacha Baron Cohen.
right. Well,
It,
yeah, the fact that
yeah.
she's never overwhelmed when she's on screen with Sacha Baron Cohen, but the
Mhm.
scenes without Sacha Baron Cohen, she's equally as dedicated
She
and
is.
just
Because there are quite a few scenes where she is left alone.
yes, like on
Yeah.
her character the whole time. Like completely understands where the film is going. Like it is an incredible performance on her part
She's great.
for sure. Yeah, someone else talk now. I'll jump in.
Yeah,
as well.
Tyler, I want to hear what the problems you had with this movie were. I want to hear.
Well, so one, I don't really think they're problems.
Sure.
I
Okay.
think this is really smart in the fact that it is current, right? Like this is happening now, and they made it seem very relevant with the
Yeah,
coronavirus
it's
and
up to
him
date.
being
Like within
the
months.
host and right.
Well, I want to talk about that really quick. Is that all right?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. The film starts in 2019, and obviously they had no idea that something like this could happen. So that means they pivoted the some of the plot and the film based on the events of the coronavirus, which is kind of
For sure.
impressive to me.
Mhm.
So sorry, that was just
Yeah,
a
I
little
think
side note.
I think this film was always going to come out and be this kind of takedown of Donald
Oh,
Trump.
sure.
But
100%.
the way in which the film reacts to coronavirus and kind of how this is
Mhm.
about is very,
Mhm.
very interesting.
It did. Yeah. It is. Because it also that shift from because they go into quarantine or the coronavirus part of Borat, and there's a shift in the message that they're trying to do from before and after, and you can tell because things changed in 2020. Things changed from when they had to shut down to restart production. They changed a lot. So I think they pivoted very well, and I think it was just kind of impressive to see how they were able to switch a bit of the narrative, and maybe switch a bit of the narrative to fit 2020 more.
Mhm.
I think they did that really good job of that.
Yeah, I'll give them credit for that. You can certainly see that where eventually in this movie where the things that were obviously the most recent because of COVID,
Mhm.
you can kind of see how they were able to work around some of those things. And
Yeah,
I do appreciate that.
it's just a much more heated political climate before and after COVID. It was before, but I think things have even escalated even more somehow from 2019 when they probably started filming this to when quarantine started, and then into the summer when they resumed filming this. I'm assuming. And I think they mentioned that it's June when he leaves quarantine with his two buddies. It's June, so I'm assuming that's kind of when they restarted.
Which
filming.
I think is part of a downfall of this movie. Unless you know politics. And I'm not saying you have to be a genius in politics, but even a brief knowledge of politics, you're not going to get 90% of this movie. Which is why I don't typically want to sit here and recommend it. And like I said, I don't have anything to like tear this movie up on except for the fact that it is very cringy, but you're not catering to the masses here. You're catering to
Right.
a very small group of people. And I think that's probably its biggest fault.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's the point, really.
I also agree. I don't think that's the point. I think Borat is such a iconic character, and I think that is universal. It was way more one-sided, and I think everybody loved Borat. The first, like I said, the first one wasn't political. It was just funny, and so
Right.
now it's him in
Well,
2020.
it was, but it just was not.
Not in the way this one is.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And I feel like more people were on both sides of the aisle, regardless of your political affiliation, liked this movie. Would I be wrong in saying that?
Yeah,
Or
no,
the original one. The original one.
The original one, yeah.
full
I
on
would say so.
cultural phenomenon at the
Mhm.
time. Like it is again hard to describe. We've kind of talked about this before, but it's hard to describe how influential this movie was. I mean, it's 14 years later and they show guys having the Borat Halloween costume like at the,
Right. Stupid
Yeah.
foreign reporter.
right, like
Yeah.
that is it's hard to have that level of consistency or iconography at this point 14 years later. The fact that it's come out, and I've had various friends who have worked for Sacha Baron Cohen at one point or another as like an intern, and he's always been described as very, very intent on his work, very very, very intense. And I think, I think that shows here. I think as an artist, it's hard, regardless of political affiliation, it's hard not to say that, in a lot of ways, the era of the Sacha Baron Cohens is over. But this proves that he grows with the time. That is indicative of growth and kind of overall, you know, regardless of whether you agree with this messaging or not. It's interesting to me that he is able to make a film 14 years later and have this level of engagement that, in some ways, I think a lot of stars from 2006 do not have anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I 100% agree. But yeah, I mean, people were saying that about him when like we saw the first Borat. Like he was a comedic genius because of that. Um, and I think he did a lot for the comedic world, especially like you said earlier, South Park. That's another one of those shows that is typically brought together in the same week, so they are current.
yeah,
They're very up to date,
that's what I kept thinking of when I saw this was the
and it's very smart.
the 6 days to air, kind of a legend of South Park.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Nathaniel and I watched it in a very similar fashion where I can't say that I was really paying attention a lot to the big message here, but that's because a lot of it was so cringy that I'd have to like look over at Nathaniel and like be like, is it like are you fucking watching the same thing I'm fucking watching?
Yeah, they kind of they fall into 2 points. It's an outsider coming in and pushing the status quo to like the absolute extreme of
100%.
decency and like what you're used to. And then it's also Borat and his daughter kind of interacting and that kind of thing. Whereas the first film was all of that. The second one is more kind of that mix in there. And like we were talking about earlier, there's parts you can tell that are scripted. There's parts that seem edited in some ways. As like a
Mm-hmm.
film person,
This movie is very smartly edited.
yes,
That's for sure.
yeah,
Very smartly edited.
as a film person, you can 100% identify that.
As someone who's made things like this for journalism classes, as far as video and stuff,
Yeah,
and just having that in my mind of like how you're supposed to cut interviews and stuff
yeah,
like
you
that.
know when the interview's being cut, when like
Mhm.
that kind of thing is. You come across those things, but I think again for the general audience, they're not gonna necessarily notice that.
Correct.
Which is why it
That
makes it
being
hard for me to recommend.
I don't think you have to. I don't think that's a qualification. I mean, if it's smart editing that a general person wouldn't know, that just makes it good editing to me. I don't think you have to have the context of that other things are going on. It's smart editing. I don't think that context makes the movie better or worse or more recommendable or
But it
less
makes it better.
recommendable. I think it makes it better.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It makes it better.
I think for me, I am fascinated by the kind of like early to mid thousands takes on filmic versions of reality TV. So your Borats, but also your Jackasses and that kind of thing. I think it speaks to this really interesting time in American culture and American art form, and how, you know, um, a lot of it's tied into technology and how that's changed things in terms of giving power to the filmmakers and that kind of thing. So I find this film fascinating as a follow up to that, kind of separate from any political or social commentary it might be making. And that being said, I think that alone is worthy of study. Um, but also, it's also pretty fucking funny in a lot of parts too.
It is, yeah.
like
At the end of the day, this is a comedy. As much as we're talking about the
Right.
action,
The
100%.
the seriousness of it, and that's
Yeah.
what I said. I mean, there are certainly some scenes in this that are 100% hilarious, where you can
Mhm.
probably pull it up for anybody, and they're certainly gonna crack out laughing for sure.
It's like simple stuff. Just like coming up with a name is like Johnny Chevrolet.
Right.
Chevrolet.
Like,
Oh,
like, those
or
are
when his
so
son goes, "I've changed my name to Jeffrey Epstein."
right. Like all of those are just incredible moments too. Like there's still really smart writing in this. Make
I
no
think when he
mistake.
dresses up as Trump and carries his daughter
That
through the lobby
was
is probably the
insane.
funniest.
And but when he shows up in a Ku Klux Klan outfit,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's like, I know
when
how
he
to get
sneaks
in.
in with the kid,
Yeah.
I gotta wear what they're wearing. Yeah,
Yeah,
And
that
it's I mean,
entire scene with Mike Pence is just hilarious.
It's
That's probably
incredible.
the funniest part of the movie.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then it shows like the other like really real side when he goes to that like rally and there's like a bunch of Confederate flags and then you like see people like hailing Hitler. Like there's some really real shit that's in this film and I think it does a
Mhm.
really smart job on how it shows it and I think it's good that it shows those things or even like the interview um with Rooney.
Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah, sorry, Rooney. It's
Rudy.
I said Rudy.
You said Rooney twice.
No, I said Rooney the first time, and then I said Rudy the second time.
It sounded like Rooney twice. Anyway, go ahead.
Either way, um, it shows like he didn't even ask like how young she was, and this is like a real interview for him.
Well, I will say again, we talked about editing. You never know how this could have been edited.
True. So yeah, it does a really smart job in showing those things, and I like I said, I don't have a lot of bad things to say about this. I think it's just a miss for most people for me.
Okay.
Which is why it's hard for me to recommend.
So the sense I'm getting from you, Ty, is you like this movie overall. It's just hard to recommend.
Yes, but I can't say that like if I'm gonna sit down and be like, I gotta watch like a really great
Sure,
comedy. This,
but you
is
don't
the
have
first
that.
one.
Doesn't have that. But that doesn't have to qualify if you're
Yeah.
gonna like it or not.
I think
I
the
don't
hard
know
part
how
for
many
me
times
too
I don't.
is
I think this is way less rewatchable than the original Borat. In fact,
100%.
I'll probably go back and watch Borat before I watch this one if I ever wanted to go back.
Well, I think that's also kind of like one of the hard parts for me is I saw Borat when it was like in 2006, right? It just had come out. I was 16. So it's hard for me to see this lens through or see this movie through a lens of 30-year-old me when I saw the first one at 16-year-old me. Like my sense of
I
humor
can see
has
that.
changed very much.
Mhm.
And I still really like the South Parks and like the handy cam like jackass kind of style. But yeah, I think that's just kind of it's just missing a little bit for me. So
Blake, you've been quiet over there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with maybe not all the way with Tyler, right? But for the most part, I mean, like I said, I'd like it, and there's like I said, the Mike Pence one is kind of that funniest segment in there. But I guess my fault with it is, and it's not necessarily a fault because the film knows it is a film like that, is that it's just hard to recommend to everybody, right? And rather maybe people like us may like it, or people who already have a darker sense of humor may like it. But
Or
for
like
example,
people, or like Tyler said, people who are into politics, like myself.
yeah, right. But I mean, like, for example, like, I don't think my dad would find this movie even remotely funny. You know what I mean? Like, if I can just kind of like
Yeah.
think of people off the top of my head, so
Yeah.
it's certainly not a film that's going to cater to the masses, as Tyler said. That's going to get everybody like, oh yeah, this is actually a really funny film. It's smart. It does a few things. I feel like this is one of those movies where the comedy is it's like so dry and in your face. Like it's either really funny, right? If you're into that comedy, which I think we were already raised on that style of comedy, is just being in the internet and things of that nature and social media, where I think there's a large portion of people who probably see this movie and it's like, this is so stupid. But like I said, that's just me kind of speaking for the masses. But yeah, like I said, I don't mind it. I know what it is. That's just kind of my 2 cents on it.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm with you there.
For me, I mean, I think this is just really. I just think it's incredibly smart how, and I mean, we kept talking about it. How is a Borat movie coming out in 2020?
Well, this
'Cause,
is what
Go
this
ahead.
is kind of the thing I was talking about because you know how like the answer you get from a lot of people is always like, "Oh, movie couldn't be made today. Couldn't make
Exactly.
that comedy today.
Exactly.
Couldn't
Yeah.
make that today." And
You
it's like,
can.
well, you can, but
You have to handle
it's just got to be
Yeah.
like this. And I mean,
But I don't think everything
is that okay? Is that okay? Is that right? Is that how it should be? I don't know. But this is about as out there, as cringy, as fucked up, as like wild as you want to get with a comedy. And
Mhm.
hey, it's getting made today.
Well, I
So
think it's
like,
Right.
I think this whole movie is just a giant commentary on being PC or politically correct nowadays. It was a 2006 was a different time. You could say different stuff. You could do different things, and we've in the 2010s changed a lot from where we were in 2010 to 2020. And I think this is just kind of a commentary on that, how things have changed and you have to adjust the times, both the comedy wise, you have to adjust the times, but even the characters do. The characters are basically straight out. It's basically if you took characters straight out 2006 and put them into 2020, and then it's how they kind of are interacted a little bit
I'm
or
fascinated.
interacting a little bit.
I'm fascinated by the fact that they gave Borat growth. That's the angle and the path that they decided to go down.
Well, yeah. I mean, in some ways, it's trying to commentate on why those things are the way they are. I mean, they go through and they have to learn why it's not okay to do these things anymore or say these kind of things.
Yeah, right.
They go through and she goes to see he calls it like the world's greatest or the country's biggest feminist or something like that, and it's a sugar baby. It's like there are reasons we can't have that kind of stuff because things like that are going on and women are, she said, we have to act weak or we have to be submissive and stuff like that. Like that shouldn't be a thing, but it is.
Yeah,
and so that's why things like that have to change.
You question the choice of taking a character which is as beloved in American culture as Borat is. And I mean, critically as well, like there is a lot written about this and then turning it overtly political. While a fascinating choice, it merits a lot of study and a lot of careful discussion. And America is just not in a space for careful discussion at the moment. And I find that all fascinating, really.
Yeah.
I know I've said that multiple times.
I know. I agree with you. I'm a political science major. I agree. I think from a social and political perspective, this movie is very interesting. And as far as how it was made, how it was handled, and then how people have reacted to it. I think it's just all really, really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler, you missed my spiel. You stepped away.
Sorry, bro.
I'm sad. Oh, and there goes Nathaniel. All right, Ty, time for your filler. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, it goes to what I was watching. Well, so this weekend we had my buddy's wedding, and his wife, who I'm also very good friends with, her side of the family is very Spanish, and like her mom's like 100%. She's got like this lovely accent. And so at their wedding, it was on Halloween, so they did like a very traditional, Dia de Muertes, like display. She had like these metal stairs that went up, and then she had like past family members, pictures all over the place, and so that led me into Coco. But it was very well done. It was really pretty. It was probably one of my favorite parts of the wedding. And so Lee and I next day watched Coco, and it got to the end where they're having a very similar like ceremony, and they have pictures of like their past grandparents. And if you know me, you know that I'm 50% Spanish. And it just it reminded me of like my grandparents. And so like we're sitting on the couch, and I'm like breathing like heavy. And then Leah goes like, she like looks up and she's like, "Are you crying?" I was like, "I'm not crying, you're crying." And so yeah, I ended up almost having like a full on like sob session. But like I love my grandparents, and you know, RIP. And it was just a really beautiful like setup that or their mom did. And yeah, so yeah, that was my cry moment.
Cool.
Filled. Consider that filled.
All right. Well, let's. I want to finish this off with one last question. Actually, we kind of got to it. Funniest scene? Are we agreeing that's the Mike Pence scene?
I would say so.
Yeah, that's my vote.
I was gonna ask what the funny scene was, but we kind of already talked about it.
Is that it? I thought the Lady Republic.
You know what was
was
shocking to
really
me?
funny.
Probably one of the most shocking scenes to me was when they were with the plastic surgeon, and she goes, "Would you?" Or I think either Borat or Tutar asked,
Yeah.
"Would you make a sexual advance on me?"
Oh man,
And-
that's
Oh,
That-
And he
that
goes,
seems-
"If your
seems
father wasn't
so-
here."
That seems so edited to me. Like that.
Really,
That was,
you thought that was?
Yeah, I think he continues that statement on like.
Okay.
And
I could
qualifies
see
it.
that being a thing, but at the same time, I feel like that's too morally that crosses the line morally to cut something like that out and paint him
Well,
that way. That I think that might be taking a little too far if that was that was
I
made.
know. The synagogue, the woman that's there, the oldest woman, or the older woman who talks to Borat. That was the first character that, or this the first person he ever explained the character to. So she actually knew what was going on beforehand, because he considered that a little bit too far over the
Yeah.
line. And the film is actually dedicated in her honor, because she has since passed after that.
Oh, okay.
Rest in peace.
But I thought that was really interesting that they decided to go that route as well. I thought the funniest scene for me is one is the Republican women scene.
Oh my
She
god.
goes in the bathroom
Yeah.
and then she
Oh, no.
comes back out and gives her speech.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was just incredible.
Yeah.
But I think the 5 days in the QAnon guy's household
That was funny too.
just
That was really
like,
funny, yeah.
I'm fascinated by that scene because it is so humanizing in a lot of ways, in ways that I didn't expect it to be, and in that Sacha Baron Cohen actually lived for 5 days with these two gentlemen as Borat, and just like went on, and like in some ways it ties them in with the rest of the film, and that's what I find interesting too, is that it is so kind of tender in some moments of its rebuking of other people, of illustrating that the other side is human and is kind and is there and compassionate, but that there's just disagreements as well. So I think that in some ways softens a lot of the blow of Borat, and
Sure.
and gives it a lot of nuance in kind of the grand scheme of things, than that his focus becomes less on a political left or right, or a political right or wrong, and more on just a humanistic side. But that's kind of my final thoughts, I think.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, let's
Where's
get
it
out of here
going?
then. Let's go on the entropy list. Welcome back to our listeners here who skipped over the spoilers. We're gonna put this movie on our entropy list. It's gonna be a very interesting one, gentlemen.
Yeah, it could be interesting to see where this goes.
Yeah, I'm curious to know where it goes.
All right. Well, the entropy list, for those of you who don't know, is the Back Row Banter official list of every movie we have reviewed, regardless of genre, all on one giant, fantastic list. If you want to find this entropy list, you can find it in the episode description here. It is on my Letterboxd. Go ahead and give it a look. It gives you some context on where we are, where we're looking here, guys.
Alrighty.
Tyler.
I was gonna say, you want me just to go first?
Yeah.
I'd probably put this at 16.
Okay, so after Trick or Treat.
Yeah, I would rather I would rather watch this than King of Staten Island. I think this is a smarter film than King of Staten Island. And an overall comedy, even though both of them touch on some not necessarily controversial, but like depression and stuff like that, and just things you don't typically find in a comedy. I think this is significantly better than King of Staten Island, so that's where I'd put it.
Gotcha.
Blake?
Yeah, I'll follow that up. I'll follow up on Tyler. I mean, looking at the entry list, I'd probably lean at I'd probably lean at 17. So after the King of Staten Island, I'm torn between 17 or 18, but I think I'm gonna go 17 to be honest, and I'll put it in front of Project Power.
Interesting. So even though you quite like this film, not cracking that above Trick or Treat or anything like that, yeah?
No, I like Trick or Treat for what it is for horror, and for Halloween. I like the King of Staten Island. I can't put it above Blind Spot. I think Blind Spot is a really good film.
Yeah, I feel like in some ways this may end up being another one of those gateway films. Like
I think so too.
in the long run of things, there will be separate areas for this as well. Because I actually kind of falling into that. I don't know if Blake, if you're done, but I was also at 16 with Tyler.
Okay.
Really?
And that, yeah, I really do
Okay.
like this film. I like quite a lot about it. It does not say enough for me that I feel advocated to put it higher, while also like the scripted bits versus live action bits felt very like I could see the seams. Like I could understand where things were edited and what everything was. So I don't know if that's feeling rushed or just feeling less genuine in some ways.
I think it is a bit of genuineness. I feel like there's a bit of mistrust as far as like these things are there's no way these things are genuinely just natural occurrences.
Yeah.
And I think maybe some of them are, and I think some of them are. I think the
Right.
dance scene and the Republican mom scene, I think those are more genuine reactions. But
Right.
there are some other ones where it's like, okay, there was some context given, there was some there was some previous talking to before the
Sure.
shooting started. So
Yeah, and so
I would agree with you there.
I think the choice on that again is really really interesting, and I
would
really
agree,
feel
yeah.
like this film will be one that will go on to be, in particular with the conjunction to the first film, it will be something that is studied and kind of like
I think so too, yeah.
examined quite a bit. But I still think these other films ahead of it are ones that I would rather watch at the end of the day than this film. So 16 for me.
Sure. I'm at 15. I kind of like this more than Trick or Treat. I thought it was really good, and I just didn't. You guys like Trick or Treat a lot more than I did. I liked it, but you guys liked it a lot more. And I think I like this movie a lot more just because I'm a political science major. I like that social aspect that Nathaniel and I keep talking about, and I think that's what does it for me. Is it's very interesting to me socially and in a sociological standpoint. I think it's very, very interesting. That being said, there are some problems with it, like Nathaniel was brought up. But so I would say 15. But it sounds like our middle ground here is gonna just be 16.
For sure.
Can we all agree on that, or do we want to tie break this somehow?
No, I think
Nope.
that's cool.
Yeah, I think
I was
16
gonna
is
say 2 on, 2 off. I think
16 is kind of the middle ground here. I'm feeling it. So there it is, slotted in at 16, right below Trick or Treat and above King of Staten Island. There you have it.
Hey, everyone, go watch Trick or Treat.
Yeah, and then check out our review of it.
That too.
Well, guys, we don't have another topic for you. We got to figure out what we're watching for next week. We forgot again. It's been a while. We had
Twitter.
As I say, we have had a really long.
We had a long
while,
streak where
so.
we had it planned, and then which doesn't feel that long ago. If I'm thinking back to it, I feel like we planned that out like 2 weeks ago, and here we are. But that was all the way back in
later.
September. Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, it looks like it's gonna be time for a little post pod Adam cut-in right here. Hello, listeners. It's Postpod Adam here. We decided after recording that we were going to go ahead and watch Django Unchained for our next review. It's going to be our first Tarantino film. That's currently streaming on Netflix, so go ahead, give that a watch, and join us next week for our review. Wow. I can't wait to watch that movie.
Way to go, Postpod Adam.
I'm so excited. Way to go, Postpod Adam.
I'm hyped.
I'm hyped too. This is going to be great. Tune in for episode 25. I'm excited. Cool. 5-star review, Nathaniel?
No, nothing yet. So please do give us a 5-star review so we can read it on the podcast. The last one we had was back in September, so we've been a whole month without a 5-star review. It's
That's
killing
upsetting.
me. It's making me sad, really.
It makes me sad.
So please do give us a 5-star review. You can say anything you want. We will
On Apple Podcasts.
On Apple Podcasts, yes. And then I will read it out. So I'd love to do it again because really my voice is too strong at this point. I've done a lot of work in the past to kind of build up my voice for these tail end of the podcasts, and now I just feel like it's all been for nothing, because I don't have any of these reviews to talk about. So I have to fill like I'm doing right now. But yeah, please let this not happen again. Give us a 5-star review.
All right. Well, in the meantime, we don't have a 5-star review, but we do have an email from one Ryan Foley, who has given permission to use his full name. So I no longer have to bleep that out.
He's after the fame.
Yes. Well, his
I always knew that about him.
his email is titled Gorilla All Day, and he sent this email to backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. So go ahead and send us an email if you'd like to contact us for anything. He says, "What up, Back Row Banter?" with bro. Oh, sorry, Back Bro Banter.
Hey, that's not
Lit.
bad,
Hey.
actually.
That's not bad at all.
What's going on, Ryan?
You guys have my full permission to use my full name. Your number one fan here is stopping by to show some love to you guys. The horror theme for October has been dope as F for a horror fan like me, and you guys cover the content very well. Adam, it's been fun to see your take on different horror movies unravel. Blake, my brother in horror, check out May the Devil Take You on Netflix. You will appreciate it as much as I did. Tyler,
Okay.
I just wanted to say hi, bro. Nathaniel, Sandpiper tapes rule so hard and the world needs more. That's in all caps. He said, thanks again for making great content for a nerd like me. Ryan friggin' Foley. P.S. A gorilla would win against a grizzly.
I mean, he's
I like
wrong
this guy.
there, but he's right in my heart. So
He is right. He is right in my heart as well. Ryan, thank you very much for the kind words, of course, as always. I'm so glad we can have full permission of your name, so I no longer have to edit those beeps in. That was annoying.
I mean, kind of fun though. I'm gonna.
It was.
working more
It was,
beats
but at
in.
the same time, it was kind of hard to line it up. There's no guarantee I'll edit them. Maybe I'll just cut them out.
Ooh,
You never know.
fascinating.
Well, please share the podcast, everybody. We'd love to grow, and we cannot do so without you. So share it with a friend, share it with a foreigner, share it with a foreigner's daughter, and share it with Vice President Michael Pence and
share it
McDonald
with,
and McDonald Trump.
number 4 journalist in all of the
Number,
land.
yeah. If you want to follow the podcast, you can do so on Twitter at BanterRow. On Instagram, it's Back Row Banter Pod. Our YouTube is Back Row Banter. And if you want, like I said before, if you want to contact us for any questions, concerns, comments, grievances, the whole thing, you can do so at backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. But BlakeHolder, where can the people find you at, my man?
Yes, sir. Letterboxd, I'll be on there. BlakeHolder, that is me. Logging whatever's going on in there. Any new joints we got going on. So obviously I'll go in there and log this new Borat. And then obviously whatever we're going to decide for next week, which we have not decided yet. Obviously, I will advocate it for it to be some type of horror movie. Will I win? I highly doubt it because we did 6 of those straight. But I'll keep you guys updated on that.
Awesome. Why don't you popcorn someone?
Ooh. We'll go popcorn Adam. We'll go right back to you.
All right. Well, you can find me on Letterboxd at I think I'm at Adam Schwartzy. You can find me on Twitter at Adam Schwartzy. Letterboxd is the same thing, I think. And then Twitch, I'm twitch.tv/Aish. I will be streaming. When does COD come out? 10 days?
Oh,
Yeah,
there you go.
I believe so.
Yeah. So soon. We're gonna get there. All right. Popcorn, pumpkin pie, tie.
Hey guys, it's me, back with some pie.
Hey, Pie Ty.
I do Twitch as well. That's El Trabajo 87.
Sometimes we do it together.
ELTRABAJO 87. We do it sometimes together. And that's at twitch.tv. Letterboxd, Instagram, and Twitter. You can find me at Tyler Vidalis, VIDALES. Nathaniel.
Hello, folks. First of all, you should like, subscribe, and listen to the Sandpiper tapes. We just released our 5th episode on Halloween as well. That's the end of the first season.
Yes, sir.
Can confirm it will be back at some point for a second. Who knows how long that will be, though. So go back and enjoy it now. It's at Sandpiper Tapes on Instagram or on Twitter, and at the Sandpiper Tapes on Instagram. Please do check it out. If you want to listen to me or follow me or any of that kind of stuff, you can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at NSGingrich and on Instagram at NathanielG92. And not to kick it back, but Ty and I did talk about a pretty cool idea for me and him both on a Twitch. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
I know of said idea, and I think it's also a good idea.
Yeah? Well,
Yeah.
there you go. So keep your eyes peeled for that, folks. And like, follow, subscribe, all of the gang here, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you next week for whatever post-pod Adam told you to watch. But that's also in the description if you're curious. Anyway. Thank you for tuning in to episode 24 of Back Row Banter, the Borat Subsequent Moviefilm Review.
There it is.
We'll there it is. We'll BRB.
Be excellent to each other, and we'll BRB.
Take care of your loved ones, and please go vote. I don't care who your vote is for.
Yeah, same.
Just go vote. It's your right, and you'll be proud of yourself that you did it. So yeah,
I'll be proud of you too.
BRB.
Yeah, I'm with Tyler on that one. Everyone go out there, get out there and vote, whether you early voted. If not, tomorrow is election day. You can go ahead and vote tomorrow. And with this being episode 24, my last segment is going to be rest in peace, Kobe Bryant.
There you go.
BRB.
Damn, why you got to do him like that, man?
Simulation, man.
It is a simulation.
America. Ready for another lesson.
Voted and quoted.
Oh, I voted today.
I voted today too.
I voted today as well.
Hey.
I will decline to answer.
May we not be in a civil war a week from now. Yeah, guys, this could be our last night before the purge.
Nah, we'll be fine.
Regardless of which way it
I don't
goes,
know. I
Yeah.
don't know. No, I'm
We
just
got-
kidding. I don't
we
think.
got 4
I don't think
level-headed
it's.
gentlemen.
I don't
Just
think
like
it's likely. But I do think it's possible.
I mean, knowing 2020 would just be funny. 'Cause,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, man.
2020 is like so unpredictable.
Yeah, man.
2020 would just be funny. 'Cause,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, man.
2020 is like so unpredictable.
Yeah, man.